in the morning. Juice in the morning. Juice in the morning.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Juice in the Morning. I am your host, Justin Juice Kelly, and next to me with the Wooden Bear Brewing t-shirt, Shane Jones. How you doing today, man?
Good, dude. A little sleepy.
Yeah, you weren't able to go to the gas station this morning?
No, I forgot my wallet.
That's a rough time.
Yeah, I was pretty upset about
Especially when I think you planned for that energy boost.
I was looking forward to it so hard. But instead, I witnessed a robbery.
Yeah, explain it a little bit to me. I know we talked about it before we started, but just tell me how it started, how you noticed.
Okay, so I walked up to the gas station. There was a car parked horizontally in the parking spaces in the front, quick getaway. I was like, this is kind of weird. So I watched the lady get out. She grabbed water and put it in her car from how they put the water outside. Well, she put it in her car, and then she started walking inside.
What water was outside? Like the cases?
Bottled water, yeah, cases.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she grabs that, puts it in her car. I open the door for her, let her in. She doesn't say thank you or anything. I'm like, it's kind of...
Well, she's on a mission, so...
bitch. And then she, I go get my drink that I can't pay for, and I'm walking back, and I see her putting a case of Budweiser, the smaller cases, in a bag.
A little 12-pack.
Doing it real fast and, looking around as she's doing, typical, at this point, I'm like, she's stealing this. So, me being worried that, she's, not stealing it, and then as soon as I say something, she's gonna be like, I'm paying for this. I don't know. So I was like, okay. So, and then
you didn't want to be called out for calling her out.
Exactly. And be wrong, and then
you didn't want to end up on a viral video.
No, and be like, this motherfucker, I don't know. So she walks out, and then you have that little window where you're like, okay, she's walking out. Now I know she's stealing it. Now I can do something. There was a 2-second window.
Right.
So the beer was right by the door. I was like, okay. So all I did was I go, hey, and told the Speedway lady just walked right by her.
Right.
Was just not paying attention. And I was just like, hey, that lady just stole water and a case of beer. Mm-hmm. And she ran to the door, and then she's like, I can't go out there. And then she was trying to explain to me why she can't go out there. I'm like, you don't have to tell me anything. Right. I get it.
Yeah.
I was like, beer and water is not worth anything.
Hey, at least she's trying to stay hydrated too.
I guess. That was kind of a random.
She's trying to avoid a hangover.
I hope she gets cancer from the sun hitting the water while it's sitting outside and melting the plastic, and then she drinks it all. And thief. No, even though you just told me that you might have partaken in it, I just don't like thieves.
Well,
people,
but I'll tell you a funny story that's different than what I was talking to you about before, which is there was a giant line one time, and I had 2 energy drinks, and this line was literally probably 15 people, and I'm standing in a line, and then I'm on a lunch break for work, and I'm like, I gotta get back. This is.
So you set the drinks down and you walked out.
Nope. I just turned around and walked right out the door.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you that there's not been times where I've just been like, I could just walk out with this right now. Right. But
I think a lot of the times it's happened for me is out of just convenience because I told the story a long time ago on the podcast, and it's one of the classic stories of hanging out with Brian Titus and them back in the day. I was 17, 18 years old, and we stole Guitar Hero from Walmart.
And Rock Band.
Yeah, and Rock Band. 2 different times.
I mean, I totally get at the end of the day that affects no one.
Right.
They're a huge company, and they have plenty of money to pay for whatever. But my thing is,
you've got your morals.
It's mostly just my dad beat it into my brain that there's nothing worse than a thief. But I think he meant more along the lines of people that do you wrong in terms of your things and taking your stuff. Yeah, as opposed to that kind of stuff.
Right.
But for whatever reason, as a kid, it just really
stuck with you.
And I was like, man, it'd be, and I have that funny, I don't know if I might have told this on the podcast before, but I went to the mall one day with a bunch of people on a half day, and they basically were like,
threw the glasses.
Yeah, threw the glasses at me and walked away. Okay, I have told this.
Yeah, but it's hilarious because they threw them at you, and you just let them
hit me and walk away because I didn't know we were going to the mall to steal a bunch of stuff. I was like, oh, okay,
you weren't in on the
No, I was like, and then when they told me, I was like, okay, I'll go, but I'm not stealing anything.
Yeah.
And then I got to the door, and the buzzer went off and he threw the glasses at me, hits me in the side, and I just like walked away, and then some guy came and snatched him up.
Speaking of you wanting to have that lady get cancer from her water bottles, I actually went to the doctor, and I don't have cancer.
Good.
Like I was telling you about, which like it's a double-edged sword. Her telling me that I'm in really good health, because then I just want to go back to smoking and drinking and doing whatever I want, anyways.
Well, I would take the "you're in really good health" with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the extent of your health. She just knows the overall.
Well, she felt the lymph nodes. She said no worry there. She was like, and I did tell her, like, as soon as I stopped smoking, because I haven't smoked in a little over a week. Before that, it had been like 2 weeks before that. So like I smoked for one day on a Saturday. Yeah. And like all of like the uncomfortableness in my body was like pretty much gone. So like I've attributed it to smoking and drinking a lot of caffeine. I can cut out the smoking pretty easily, except for like when I go out, and then but caffeine I can't cut out. I have super hard time cutting that out, because it's just it's one of those things that like I think that, you know, your body does get like little addictions to things, and like maybe even major addictions to things, because when there are days that I don't have any caffeine at all, I know that I feel like out of it. Like, and I know my body is
it might even be you telling yourself that you're out of it, when you could probably just like, there's been days where I forgot to drink coffee or have caffeine, and then been acting completely fine, and then remembered that I hadn't had coffee, and then I'm like,
your body alerted you to it.
It just doesn't.
Yesterday was a weird day, because we didn't really like, we went to the Jason Mraz concert on Friday, and we had like a couple of those big giant beers that they sell at the concerts that are like, what, 24 ounces or something like that.
Say $24. I was like, pretty much.
No, they're $12, which is ridiculous. But I had a couple of those, and then I had a vodka and tonic, and like that was all I had for the whole concert.
Impressive. I can't go to a concert without getting blackout drunk.
And so, but we came home after the concert, hung out, and ate some Taco Bell, and then like went to bed. And it was probably like 1:30.
Yeah.
And so we woke up Saturday morning, because I had scheduled a test drive of a couple trucks, because I'm wanting to get a new vehicle, and there was a couple in my price range that the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we can definitely get where you want on the price," or whatever. They didn't get to where I wanted on the price either, by the way, because
that's how they get you. Yeah. They're like, we can do that, but what if we just do a little more?
Well, that's what drives me nuts, is because, okay, let me continue my story about how we felt yesterday, and then I'll talk about the car stuff. But yesterday, like, so we got up, we went and did that, but it was like rainy all day, and I was like just irritable all day. Like I just like was mad all day, and I don't know what I was mad about. Like I didn't have really any reason to be, but I was just like, anything that Jen said was driving me nuts. Like she was like, and she started like getting on money and stuff like that, and I was like, don't even, just let's not talk about this right now.
Yeah.
Like we were on our way to the Colts game, like, or on our way home from the Colts game. I was like, we just had a good time.
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
Yeah. And, but like everything was annoying. And then finally we got home, and then I was like, perfect. So I don't know if it's just the fact that I've just been go all week.
Yeah.
Or if there was actually something like internally, or if it was just literally that my mind was like done and wanted to be home, chilling, watching TV, or just relaxing on the couch.
We kind of talked about that over text yesterday, and it's one of those things where I feel like if you're constantly using your brain or constantly having some kind of thing to do all day long, you don't have that like little grace period of being able to chill. For me, I know that sounds like, you know, most people like no, you got to work hard and blah blah. Right. Like I need time to like
decompress,
unwind a little bit, and like reflect on what's going on. And I can't just do the thing where I'm all business all the time, you know, like from the time that I open my eyes to the time I close them. It's like, and that's how my life's been recently. And it sounds kind of like how yours has been recently.
Yeah, work, we've been, you know, I've been doing 12, 13, 14 hour days. And then like, what's funny is you'll like get off work, and I'll be like, okay, I've got plans. Like, you know, I've gone to the gym at least 3 times last week, which I was impressed that I even managed to do that with 12 and 13 hour days. But like the days that I didn't go to the gym, and even the days that I went to the gym, I would get home, eat like something really quick, and then we'd like turn the TV on, and I'd be asleep in like 13 minutes.
That's the thing. Like I was telling you also, is like by the time I get home I go to school for, like I said, 6 hours, and then I go to work for 6 or 7 hours. By the time I get home, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock. By the time I get June fed, you know, I mean, obviously I have some help with that kind of stuff, but once I get, you know, bath, fed, and get her like calmed down and ready to go to sleep, because she's never wants to go to sleep. And by the time it's like 10 o'clock, and I'm like exhausted and like what you said, just falling asleep. So it's
which is funny, because I feel like before we'd use that time of like an hour or two to like just kind of like, I'm just gonna like, you know, scroll through my phone or like pay attention to the TV, like, but it turns your brain off, I feel like, for a minute.
Yeah, those 2 hours are like a necessity. I'm starting to realize that those are like,
because when you go straight to sleep and wake up and do it all over again, you feel like for me, everything was running together. Like the whole week was like, was this like Tuesday or was this Monday?
Yeah.
I have no idea what day it was when we did this.
Yeah. And for me, I enjoy sleeping in, and it's like technically today I somewhat slept in. I got up at like 9.
Yeah.
But every day this week I've got up at 5:30.
Yeah.
5:30 and then 5:30, like, you know, 5 days in a row. Even on Saturday I did the same thing and worked almost a 12-hour day. So it's just been like, it's just been crazy.
Yeah, that's like our hours changed at where I work, and we started open earlier. So I'm up at about 4:45 and shower, and then I'm in work by 6 or 6:15, and then I'm just starting from there, and it's like nonstop until 5:30, 6 o'clock that night usually.
Yeah.
But off of the work stuff, back to the vehicle stuff. So yes, cars, salesmen, I understand it's their job, but it's funny to me that every time I've gone, because what I told them was, I want the price of this vehicle to be low enough that I can get, I think I set my limit as $400 a month for a payment, and I don't want it to be more than 5 or 6 years of a loan, because now, dude, they're selling people cars for like 82-month loans.
That's insane.
Which is like, because that's what the first thing he came to me with was, yeah, I can sell you this. It was a Chevy 1500. It had some nice wheels and tires, and ultimately the first thing that turned me off was they showed me the Carfax, and it was a rental, so it was like leased, or it was sold brand new to a car rental company, which I've heard, don't ever buy vehicles that have been a rental, because people drive the shit out of those when they're in the rental fleet. Because when you get a rental car, you're not going to just drive.
You're not worried about it.
You're just going to drive it into a wall if you want, because you're not that worried about
I don't know that, but I'd be like definitely like revving the engine and going real fast.
People are nice to those cars.
Yeah.
So that turned me off about that. But like, I was like, the first offer they brought to me was like, well, it's going to be about $475 a month, and we're going to do like an 82-month loan. And I was like, no, like, this is not what I told you at all. I told you exactly what I wanted. This is not what I can do. And so then, you know, either way, I was going to say no to that car anyways. But then I'd been on my Auto Trader app, and there was a Nissan Titan, which I really do like.
The V8.
Yeah.
Those are neat.
And I drove up to Fisher's and test drove that, loved it. And it was like $5,000 cheaper than the other car. So I was like, I bet I'm going to walk away with this car, because it's $5,000 cheaper than the other vehicle. You know, it got less miles. It's got a lot more features. It's like a lot nicer than the other one that I was looking at. It is a Nissan, so it's not necessarily GM, but I'm not like tied to a brand with that.
Yeah.
And same thing. The guy came to me and he was like $475 a month, and for like 78 months or something like that. And I was like, I can't do that, man. I told you exactly what my limits were, and we actually want to be under $400 a month, preferably. And I know that I'm coming from not a good bargaining position, because I'm too early in the buying process. Like, we were planning on in the spring, like going and shopping for a new car, but I just saw these like posts, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go look at them.
Yeah. So you're not really in a rush, so that makes it easier for you not to
just
make
say
a bad
no.
decision. Yeah.
But also, it's just funny because, like, you know, I told him, I was like, this is what I can do. And then he just kept saying like, well, so you can't get close to that number? And I was like, no. And he was like, really? You can't get closer? And I was like, no. And then like, I said something to Jen, like, he's like, yeah, I don't think we can do this. And he was like, what? And I was like, what? And we had that like weird, awkward, like, he was trying to like, almost, I feel like he was trying to like bully me into taking this deal. And I was like, fuck you, dude. I'm getting out of here. You're a weirdo. Go away.
Your fucking devil tactics won't work on me.
And then what's also funny is you always think that your car's worth more than it is.
Yeah.
Because I took my car for a trade-in.
It was like $1,000.
Not even that. The guy was like, So with the Cadillac, we're just gonna have to call that like a wash because we still have like 2 payments left on it.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, we're just gonna call that a wash, and we would take that for you, but we just also pay it off for you.
We'll take your car for you.
but he was like, basically he was like, we'll pay like $500 or $600 to pay it off, and then not give you any money towards this car.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck. Well, the thing is, what's funny about that is he said that, but then the other place was like, I told him, I was like, I don't really want to do this deal. And he was like, well, what if we gave you like $1,500 for the Cadillac? Like, what if we did that? And like kind of got these numbers better. And I was like, still, I'm not going to do it. But I was like, it's funny how they can do whatever they want to do. So like, basically I told the guy as I left, I was like, if you can get it to what I said, I'll come back and sign the paperwork. But if you can't, then we're leaving. And I'm just waiting for them to call me next week because it's the end of the month and they really want to sell that car and it's probably still going to be sitting there.
Yeah.
And then they're going to call me.
Oh, nice.
So
you're good at that. I'm not as
well, we've just gone through it with Jen and I both, or not I both, because Jen's had 2 new cars since we've been together. We bought the Cadillac, stupid choice, because it was like a $18,000 car, and I think we bought it for $15,000 or something like that with the trade-in of my old vehicle, and then we got like a super high interest rate. So like, it's just dumb. It was stupid. We did a really bad job with that, but we've learned more every time.
Yeah.
To like tell them exactly what you want.
Yeah.
And if they can't meet it, just go somewhere else because somebody will meet it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I kind of did with I was looking to buy, this was like 2 years ago, because the car I have now, I just basically sold my car I had, and then I bought the car from my mom.
Yeah.
So, and it had like super low miles. So I was like, I would be stupid to not do that.
Right.
But before that, I got, I had like $7,000, and I was like, hey, this is exactly what I have. I have no more, no less, or no, I obviously have less, but I have no more than this. What can you get me? And they kept trying to do that same shit. We're like, well, we have this one. And it's like 7,800. I'm like, I don't have that much money.
Right.
I kept
and you were one to buy right out. You weren't one to do any kind of payments.
No, I don't want payments because like it's just added
stress for real.
and I'm at the point like once I get like when I'm graduating and get a job and all that stuff, then maybe I'll look into getting a payment. But as of right now, my car is stupid reliable, and I don't have any payments on my car. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
But so I basically just told the guy like, hey, this is what I got, and he kept trying to do that same shit. And then finally, he went and did exactly what you said, and went and talked to some guy in another room, and then came back and he's like, all right, I think we can do it. And I'm like, okay, that's what I felt kind of badass.
And I understand, like that's their job. Like that's that's their job to get as much out of everybody as they can. Like they're salespeople. That's why they do it. But still, at the same time, it's funny because I think car salesman jobs have kind of turned into like bro jobs, or like people that are younger. Like I know there's some older people that do it that are probably really good, but I'm saying as a whole, I feel like that it's a thing that it's not what it used to be, which I feel like people would be like celebrity rock stars if they were car salesmen because they'd make a lot of money.
Yeah, you can make a lot of money.
And I feel like the way the internet is now, because I looked up exactly the loan terms that I would want, because I said I want 3% APR, which I know is like a really low number and doesn't happen very often with car loans.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want 3% APR or lower, and I was like, and I want this, this, and this, because we're educated buyers because of the internet now. So like I went in told them exactly what I wanted, and then now their job has changed from trying to sell me on the car to selling me on the terms and like what we're paying for the car.
I think what I'm going to do when I go to buy a car is I know a few people that sell cars and I trust them to an extent.
Right.
So I think I'll go that route. I mean, obviously
that's always a good move.
Obviously,
if you know them, it's way better.
I'll get some information on that, the APRs and all that jazz that I don't really know shit about because I haven't had to ever really buy any cars except the one out front.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'll just do exactly that, is like go find the person I know and be like, hey, can you hook me up?
And this is the budget I have. This is what I want to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's funny because, like I said, I feel like if you have ever seen like some of those older movies, like I think it's The Goods, where they like are working at a used car lot, and like I think we've talked about this show before, or on the show before. But basically, I feel like his name's Ari.
Oh yeah, I know.
But he's the one of the main characters. He's like a car salesman, and then
he's from what's that movie? The Spade. God, it's a card movie, or like
Ace Smoking Aces.
Smoking Aces, yeah.
But anyways, he's in there, and then Craig Robbins is like a DJ, and he's like, people are like suggesting songs, and he's like, don't fucking suggest any song.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, like in that, like it's just kind of like a funny thing because he like can talk the pants off of anybody and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's just, I think that is like gone now. I think it's not so much that way anymore.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of people, and I have no room to talk, but it just seems like a lot of people I went to high school with or something like that they couldn't really like zero in on what they wanted to do.
Well, yeah, but it's almost like but there's like always the very successful side of those people that are like, yeah,
sure.
dude, I'm like rocking out and I'm selling blah blah blah. But then it's also, to me, the analogy is kind of like the girls that, and I love everybody that does style hair and everything, but there is people that I feel like there were like multiple girls I knew growing up with that graduated high school, went to college, didn't do very well with that, went and did like a Ivy Tech for like nursing, didn't do well with that, and then they finally landed on
Like selling
beauty school.
Oh yeah,
like, and doing hair and makeup and things like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, not that that's a failure for people that are very good at it and are very professional.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's almost, and even the military is kind of like that. Like,
same with like selling insurance. I feel like, or doing some kind
it's
of
a
like,
fallback
or
that
like
can make you make a career for
like
you.
a State Farm guy.
Yeah.
Like you weren't trying to be a State Farm guy. It's one of those things where like
you were trying to be a professional athlete.
And I've actually had that option to where my buddy's sister makes like $120,000 a year as a car salesman.
Yeah.
And she was like, hey, you would be really good at this, blah, blah, blah. Come in. And then I basically had to tell her like I, for a week, was trying to decide, do I quit school?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to do both.
Right.
Or do I go do this? I thought to myself, do I want to be a car salesman for the rest of my life?
Well, and the thing is too, there is opportunities there, because I think my wife, one of her good friends, her husband is like a sales manager at a place.
You can move
and
up.
he like makes
Yeah.
a ton of money
Exactly.
doing what he's doing.
But I don't think I would be happy doing that.
Yeah.
So like I totally get that you can make a shit ton of money doing it, but are you happy? Like, is that what you wanted to do with your life, is sell cars?
Yeah, and once again, we, like anybody that's listening, we preface this with, if you really do like your career and you're into it and you love it and you're very good at it,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that we're talking about you.
Well, Nicole kind of talks sometimes like she's a nurse, and she talks about all the time how she would love to do people's hair, be a
stylist.
yeah, and like I think she'd be really good at it, and I think she would really enjoy it. So like it's one of those things like what, like you do what makes you happy over what I just want to find that happy medium where I can get paid semi well,
Yeah.
and do something I love at the same time.
I have, this just popped into my head because of us talking about do what you love and like kind of be you. The PTO Unlimited podcast I was listening to just recently, and one of the hosts, Brett, brought up the fact that he is almost 30 years old, and he was making fun of people for wearing graphic tees.
Yeah.
And so they got into an argument based off of so when you get older, I know you and I haven't been single in a long time, but if we were single, like what would your attire be if you went out looking to like hang out with, people, go to the bar, talk to girls, things like that? Would you dress up, or would you just kind of wear like what you're wearing right now, the Wooden Bear Brewing t-shirt, or like, well, how would you feel about going out?
It depends on where we were going. I think I would for sure, like if going out like to the bars.
See, there's a
I'd
lot of
wear, like,
nuances and like variabilities. Oh, I thought that was going to happen for a while. Just, you can let it fall. It's fine. I'll hang it up a little bit higher.
Sorry, I'm readjusting myself.
No, you've gotten comfortable over there. And once again, we are going to move the table. But no, like, I've always been a funny t-shirt guy. So like a graphic t-shirt is something that I would be into.
Yeah.
And Alex, one of their co-hosts, brought up the point that t-shirts kind of sometimes start conversations, because somebody will say, they'll see your Star Wars t-shirt and they'll be like, oh yeah, like I like Star Wars too, or something like that. And like same with my, like back in the day, like when I was single, my like thing was I'd wear funny t-shirts, and then people would like, it would actually create conversation with people just because they would read it and think something was funny or think it was stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite shirts back in the day that I don't have anymore, and I wish I did, it said, I love hot moms. It had I heart hot moms like underneath it or whatever. always made people laugh or made people uncomfortable, and then like it started that conversation, so that I would just be like drunk having a good time and like start talking to moms.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm actually more about how a shirt fits than what's on it.
It's on it.
And I don't usually wear a lot of shirts with stuff on it. I usually wear like, what's my uniform? Like a Carhartt shirt with a pocket on it. Dude, like that's just what I'm comcomfortable in. It's a black
And
t-shirt.
plaid.
Yeah, I like a lot of plaid.
There's a lot of plaid at the Mraz concert, by the way.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of hipsters. I got some girl at work the other day said, when I first met you, I thought you were a pretentious hipster, and I was like, just because she didn't know me, and she's like, you're actually pretty cool, but I just like
first impressions.
You can't have a beard and not be a hipster.
It's dumb.
Like I can't put.
And yours, you've grown it out. Like it's very full. It's a very full beard.
Yeah,
mine is not. Like I always try to keep mine trimmed a little shorter.
See, I wouldn't get a hipster vibe from the shorter, but it's just because as soon as you grow like a big
thicker
beard,
one,
people like you can't put on a toboggan or a beanie without being like,
and half the toboggan has to be like folded over.
Yeah. And it just is like I don't.
It's more comfortable that way.
I don't classify myself as a hipster, but everybody else apparently does. I have tattoos that are kind
also, are you into the stuff that's like hipster stuff? I don't feel like you are.
No,
I feel like you like. But that's actually
what do I like?
A good point.
Saying?
Like I'm trying to like think of like music, and I know that you like some like deeper cut rap stuff that like you're into, that when you've played it for me I like it, but like I have never really probably ever listened to it. I'm trying to remember what was the one that you played on the podcast like recent or a while back, but I can't remember what it was.
I like lots of stuff, dude. I like
Mobb Deep is what you played. And I had never been a Mobb Deep person.
Ones.
Like I'd never listened to them.
Yeah,
unless they were on somebody else's song.
I like old school rap. I don't know, man. I just don't like. I hate to like. This is gonna sound totally hipster, but I don't like to like put things in. Like
you don't want to be confined to one category.
Yeah, I like lots of stuff. I like to watch football. I like jujitsu. I like nerdy stuff. I like video games. I like all kinds of stuff. I dabble. I do a lot of dabbling. I think
that's why we're very similar, because I was actually thinking about this on the way back from the Colts game. Like, as I've gotten older, sports hasn't really mattered as much as it did when I was like 20.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 31 now, but when I was 20, 21, I could name you players from all over the league.
Which I've always thought is ridiculous.
I could name like the defenses that they ran, whether they ran a 3-4 or a 4-3. Because I think it's because we were playing a lot of Madden too at the time.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those things where like now I'm like talking to my little brother who's 16 and I'm like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? That was an awesome play. Who's that guy? Because I actually don't know who the entire roster of the Colts were.
Yeah. I don't want to make this about race, but I think it's hilarious that a bunch of like middle-aged white dudes love to know the names of a bunch of super athletic black guys. Is that just me, or is
there's like seeds of a stand-up comedy bit right there?
Oh, for sure, because it's hilarious.
I'm sure it's been done already.
Because I see this like overweight white dude that's like super into fucking football, and then he's just like damn near in love with like the athleticism of this like 22-year-old. 6'4", 240 pound black.
He's looking really good this year, guys.
And then like when they explain him, it sounds a little gay. Like when they're like,
have you seen the quads on that guy? I mean, it looks like he could lift a truck.
I saw him at practice the other day. He had his jersey up over his abs. Dude's got abs. And he's like 300 pounds, man. I don't know how that's possible. Yeah, I'm like,
oh, dude, I've heard it a lot. And not just to do a little shameless plug, we're starting the fantasy football podcast midweek this week, Wednesday.
People are really excited about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pauly's Sleepers is they're going nuts, and I can't wait.
Yeah,
they're chomping at the bit to like talk some shit.
I'm kind of like, I wish I was into something that much. Yeah. Like I really don't ever get into like I said, I dabble and I don't ever get like obsessed with things.
Right. Well, and also Married with Children. I feel like I mention the same podcast, but it's the people I interact with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Married with Children made their profile picture a picture of me from Facebook, and it was let me pull this up real quick.
Also,
I'll show it to you.
Those memes that they made, and the picture of Mark like getting excited about the girl getting pushed off the bridge. That shit was funny. His face.
No, that was the memes. They're hilarious. I do want to bring that up too at some point. But anyways, just read the name of his team name. He's in the listener league with the Juice in the Morning and Polly Sleepers listener league that we'll be drafting for Wednesday and do it on Facebook Live. But check that out. It's a picture of me getting ready to go out, like I'm at a pregame.
Jersey Shore Rejects.
And the name of the team is Jersey Shore Rejects.
Oh man, that's great.
And I'm wearing a
cutoff,
a Corona Light cutoff.
You probably got that shirt for free somewhere.
Definitely did, with a wife beater under it, and then a red. I'm almost positive that was a red Pabst PBR snapback.
How many beers can I wear? And then I had on my Miller Lite sandals.
I think I had sandals on that had the little like bottle openers on them on the bottom of them. Wow. And then at the same time, my old shitty tattoo that I got covered up. And I'm wearing aviator sunglasses. And I'm wearing one of those necklaces that like you'd wear on the beach.
Like a puka necklace?
It's not puka, but it was like braided like...
I would never wear anything called puka.
I knew that was lame when it was cool.
Yeah, like, dude, you have shells on your necklace.
I think a girlfriend bought me one of those on spring break, and I like refused to wear it.
Like, you a merman?
Like, we got into a big argument over that the entire time.
You some kind of merman? Or
merman, Pop, merman. What, he's some kind of naked fish?
But yeah, well, let's see.
But yeah, so he made that, and I was wearing basketball shorts. Like I was getting ready to go out to the bar, like black basketball shorts, blue Corona cutoff, red hat, aviator sunglasses, sandals. God, good find on the picture.
We've come a long way.
But yeah, so we were talking about the fantasy football.
Also, we need to talk about, I don't know exactly what happened, but what's this thing with like the
Boss Hogs of Liberty?
Yeah, they were talking some smack, I hear.
So they basically told us that where Jesse got his start on the Boss Hogs of Liberty, which Jesse responded and said that actually he got his start on the We Are Libertarians podcast.
Yeah.
So I'll let you let me pull it up, and you can kind of give some background on what they were talking about.
Okay.
I think it's on the Juice in the Morning page. Let me look here. I've got stuff pinned to the top. Maybe not. Fuck. Anyways, the Boss Hogs of Liberty kind of went back and forth, but they also did schedule with me for September 9th. They're going to come on this podcast.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna hash it out a little bit. They said that they were the East Central Indiana. The East Central Indiana champs on Facebook, but we're both still losing to the Turkey of Newcastle Facebook page.
Yeah, I found it. So it just says, Mark put pod beef, #pod beef. You put got some work to do. Where do you even find all of this? Oh yeah, it like puts us in a rating.
Yeah, because there's a ranking of like likes and like all your other stuff that's going on, your interactions.
Isn't Boss Hog and the Newcastle thing all out in that area? Yeah,
they made the turkey page, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Because there was like a wild turkey that was like attacking cars as they drove by on Newcastle, like on a Newcastle highway.
Yeah, and then We Are Libertarian said quit cyberbullying and still both losing to a turkey. And then Jesse said JR got his start here, what you saying about, quoting it, and then saying, negative. I got my start on We Are Libertarians years and years ago. And then Chris Spangle said, I am willing to make a trade, Juice.
I was like, I don't know who he's wanting to trade for. Is he wanting to trade for you?
I don't know.
Does he want you on his show?
Probably not.
I don't think either one of us would be what they want for the political side of We Are Libertarians.
He has more political knowledge in his fucking
pinky finger
than I have in
your entire body.
Yeah, pretty much. And I love that you said just can't do it. Can't do it. And then if you have a used washing machine, we can offer up Danny Morell.
I think that's hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I do have a used washing machine. If anyone,
I've got 2 that I'm currently using, so I can't give them
you
up
have
for
2 washing machines.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I actually have a
you have a spare one?
A used dryer and washer.
Nice.
So we could just start selling things on this show. If anybody needs a used washer that you have to actually turn the knob a little farther to keep it going once it gets to a certain point, I got you.
I got a DVD player because Jen and I have reached the peak of the lower middle class mountain.
You keep saying lower middle class. I think you're middle class.
I would say we're lower middle class.
I don't know. I know how much you make.
No, we are at the point now where we have a TV in every room.
If you're lower middle class, I'm poor.
Well, they said, I think, didn't they say that if your household makes less than a certain amount, I think you're still considered like,
yeah. I
poor.
mean, I look like, I don't know, like I live in a cool house.
Mm-hmm. I like your house,
and I have a car that works.
Yeah,
and
so you're not poor,
and I'm able to take care of a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's about all I got going for me, though.
But I just like to joke about that because one day I would like to be upper class. One day, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I don't know, man.
I think I make too many dumb decisions to get to the upper class.
Yeah, but the good thing is that you've made it to a point where you're comfortable.
Yeah,
and,
somewhat.
And I mean, you don't have to worry.
Right.
Like, I can't pay my bills. Like, at least those worries are gone.
They're at least they're in the back of my mind. And you know, we still argue because Jen's like, you spend money on all this A, B, and C. Because what started our argument about money was the fact that I'm going to be joining a fantasy football league that's $100 to buy in.
Yeah.
So there's 12 teams. So if you pay $100 every person, that's $1,200. So, you know, that's a good amount of money that I could win at the end if I win. It's an investment.
Yeah. There is something to be said about having separate bank accounts.
Well, that's what, literally, we were in that argument. And then I just told her, I was like, you know what? Monday, I'm going to the bank and I'm opening a checking account that I'm going to put 10% of my check into every week or every time I get paid.
Yeah.
And you're going to do the same thing, because then we won't have these arguments as much because we'll have our own money. And if you don't have anything in that and you're trying to do something, you're fucked. Like, that's your fault.
Yeah.
And like, we can be nice to each other and lend each other money from those accounts if we want. But at the same time, you can't.
That's where things get a little.
I was like, at the same time, you can't get mad if the person says no.
Yeah.
Because they're saving that for something.
Yeah.
Because I really want to get those headsets that have the like mic that come out.
Yeah.
And then we can get rid of these, or at least put them over there.
And I can be like walking around the room if I want.
And we can talk with our hands a lot more, and we're not going to smack the microphone.
I'm not much of a hand talker, but I could start out and see if I can.
Well, that's one funny thing too. Now that just like set me on another thought process. My mom and I were talking the other day because she and I do talk with our hands a lot. So like when we're out at the bar or something like that, I'm notorious for knocking drinks over because of talking with my hands, and like knocking somebody's beer bottle over, because that's the other thing. Why do we have things always so close to ourselves when we're at a place like that?
Because you need them.
Because I'm going to knock it over.
Yeah, I do the same thing. That feeling of your heart dropping when you knock something over in front of a bunch of people and they're like, party foul! I'm like, God, fuck you.
It's the worst.
Who still says party foul?
I don't think I've heard that in a really long time.
Somebody did that to me not too long ago. I can't remember the actual situation, but I was like sober and knocked over the beer, and then everyone's like, oh, Shane's drunk. And I'm like, I just got here. I don't think so.
What about like, because you've been a server before, what about when somebody drops something at a restaurant and it feels like every single person in the restaurant looks at you?
Or when people fucking clap. Oh my God, get out of here. That is the biggest pet peeve, when people like start clapping when people drop shit.
Yeah, that's it's funny because it's like that happens every day, all day, that something gets dropped. So then why is this such a huge deal when we actually see it? I've
been lucky enough to, when I only work at the restaurant one day a week now, but when I was working there a lot, I didn't drop stuff very often.
One of my first weeks working as a server, I spilled the whole tray of drinks on a table, like just the whole thing.
Wow.
It was like four.
Shitty.
Actually, they were actually really nice about it.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I was like very lucky, because they could have been really shitty.
You know what people do at my work that really, really sucks is they'll break glass and it'll go into the ice.
Oh, and then you have to empty the whole thing.
Empty the entire ice thing out in the middle of a busy ass shift.
That's got to be the worst.
Yeah, and then you have to put your hand in there and try to find the glass at the bottom after you.
Oh God, that's just an injury waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So, what have you been having going on lately? besides work and school? What about the?
That's it.
What about the Lytle fight?
Yeah, I mean, I actually was.
He's a hometown guy, Indiana.
I was taking a dump this morning and happened to catch that guy that he was fighting. Didn't really seem to bring much to the table except a
willingness to get punched in the face,
a really bad attitude, or I don't know. He just seemed like a guy I wouldn't like.
Right.
Like when he was getting his eye fixed and he was saying like, "It's not even bleeding. It's not even bleeding." Like, just calm down.
I wasn't listening. So was that what he was saying?
He just kept saying like, It's not even in my eyes. It's not even in my eyes. I'm like, dude, just let the people clean your eye and then get back to. He just seemed kind of like, and then
get back to getting punched in the face some more.
And then Chris Lytle was just kind of calm and collected and just doing his thing.
You could definitely see the level of experience in fighting between both of them, because with that guy, he was always kind of retreating, whereas Lytle was like always like attacking, but also had that front like. And I know nothing about fighting. This is just all like from what I saw in the video. And he had his like front foot like planted, but would back up but still have his front, like his feet planted, like he could still throw a punch from. Yeah. Where the other guy kind of just like, it looked like his legs were kind of all over the place.
Yeah. Well, is
that a big deal?
What you don't realize is, and like I don't even know that much about this, but I know that it's very important. Is that in boxing or kickboxing, your feet work is like super duper important, and how you transition around the mat and that kind of stuff, and how you move. If you move like side to side as opposed, front and forward, there's a specific way to do all of that, and you're always supposed to be up on like the balls of your feet. Yeah, like the front. So like the guy that used to teach kickboxing at my class said he used to walk around with tennis balls in his shoes, so that he would get used to walking on the tops of his feet.
That's crazy. Yeah. Well, he could have gotten those, like, you remember those shoes that were like jump trainers, where they had those big floppy things on the front of the foot?
Dude, there's been so many shoes that were just like ridiculous.
I remember seeing like commercials and stuff for those and saying like, you'd be dunking in 3 weeks if you wear these shoes, and like basically they'd be like, just walk around and you're basically walking on your toes. That's a really bold
statement. Yeah, you'll be dunking.
Like you're like 5'9" is like the guy like on the cover of the magazine.
I don't think there's too much difference between 5'9" and 6'1".
Ooh, in basketball and dunking there is.
I don't know, because like there was dudes that I knew that were like shorter than me that could touch the rim and the backboard. Yeah. And then I could touch like the backboard and the rim barely, but I think I kind of had ups for a white kid when I was.
Well, so you're how tall? Like 6 foot, 5'11",
5'11" and a half.
So
I want to say 6 foot so hard, but deep down inside, I just.
So I'm 6'1" and about maybe a little over 6'1". Yeah. Or when I got measured in high school without my shoes, flat-footed, barefoot, I was 6 foot and 3/4. So I wasn't even 6'1", but with shoes on, I'm pretty much 6'1". Anyways, I was able to dunk in high school and was like pretty good at it.
That's crazy. On a 10-foot goal?
Yeah.
Damn.
And but what's crazy about it is it took me forever to get to that point, because my hands are smaller. So like when I go to palm a basketball, like it takes a lot of strength for me to palm a basketball. Whereas some people I feel like can just do it like no big deal. Yeah. Like I had to work on it, like to build up the hand strength to do it while I was in high school. So I had to build up my hand strength to be able to hold on to the ball. So actually what was funny was two-handed dunks were easier for me because I could jump up with both hands and put it in, but it was harder because you had to jump higher to get the two-hand dunks in.
And if you do it with one hand, you have to kind of keep your hand behind the ball perfectly, because if you don't,
you're going to miss.
If you don't have the grip, you know what I mean? So.
And you're going to let go of the ball. Like I've thrown it off the back of the rim tons of times because of trying to do that.
To say that at one point you could dunk is probably pretty cool in my book.
It was cool. I can still grab the rim now and hold on with both hands, but I've got a really bad numb leg over here, so it's a lot harder.
Numb leg?
Yeah, from getting shot. I've told you that. And my nerves are just not as good. So when I'm jumping, I'm pretty much jumping off of one leg, pretty much.
Oh, gotcha.
But I still love basketball. I'm just not any good at it anymore. I can't shoot. I mean, I can shoot in like pig horse situations like that. Like I can do, but like if I'm playing in like a game, I'm sucky.
Yeah, I travel and what's the other one?
Double dribble.
Double dribble and travel. That's my.
I used to love the like hand motion for double dribble because I just picture somebody actually dribbling a basketball like that.
But I've never really been good at basketball. I've been decent at pretty much everything. I like soccer, baseball, football. I've always been pretty decent at those, but something about basketball and all the dribbling of the balls just doesn't work for me.
But yeah, so in that fight though, like when you're fighting bare knuckle, like to me watching that, it just seemed like a couple of guys just like fighting it out in the bar without going to the ground, I guess. Because a lot of the times those fights end up on the ground.
Yeah. So I don't know the rules of whatever I don't know if, because he kept getting knocked down and then they would just stop.
Let him back up because I think nothing can go to the ground.
I guess it's like boxing.
Yeah, bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, but I just didn't know that there's no. I just saw the video randomly and watched it, but I don't know. I've never even heard of that, honestly. I mean, I've heard of bare knuckle fighting, but I've didn't know there was like a league or whatever for it.
Bare knuckle boxing. Hold on, let me look this up real quick. Legally sanctioned card in Wyoming. So this was in Wyoming. So was it in Wyoming last night? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, I just saw it while I was taking poop this morning and thought it was.
This was in June actually. Let me look up bare knuckle boxing. Chris. You can hear the mower in the background. Somebody mowing grass. Bare Knuckle FC 2. Chris Lytle says body shots in bare knuckle feel like stabbing.
Damn, that's intense. I saw him get a lot of body shots. The guy kept trying to like put him in like a headlock from the front,
like holding.
He kept just hitting him in the sides a bunch of times. That probably felt like horrible. People don't realize how bad getting hit in the side sucks.
Chris Lytle stops Drew Lipton in 1 round. Lytle ended his 7-year retirement from combat sports Saturday and needed only 78 seconds to stop Lipton in his bare knuckle fighting championship debut. Lytle, who ended his UFC career with a submission victory over Dan Hardy in 2011, decided to give bare knuckle fighting a chance. If his performance against Lipton was an indicator, the 43-year-old could have a successful second career in the bare knuckle fighting championship. That's crazy that he's 43.
I wonder how much they get paid.
Probably not much, I could imagine, because it's literally the second one they've ever had. The second, like,
he's probably
sponsored
doing it
fight.
just for the fact that he misses fighting.
So Lytle wasted little time going after the overmatched Lipton and used his skill as a professional boxer to set up his power shots. It wouldn't take long for Lipton to step into his wheelhouse. Lytle landed a huge overhand right. I remember seeing that cut his face first to the canvas. Lipton rose but had suffered a nasty cut over his eyes. When the action resumed, Lytle and Lipton engaged in a wild exchange that's when he had him in like the headlock, but like was trying to punch him in the head. Lytle clobbered him with a right hand and put him back on the canvas. And then
he knocked him down like 3 times.
He knocked him down 3 times, and the 3rd time I don't think he got up.
He just did I'm good. He did the hand wave.
But that's crazy. Like, I mean, do you think that's any more vicious than UFC?
No, I don't think there's honestly much difference between that little bit of padding that's in between. I mean, there's people out there that might disagree, but I don't think, I told you earlier, Joe Rogan pretty much believes that they shouldn't have to wear gloves.
Right.
Because there's
what if it's like, because
what's
do you think it should be like, does he think it should be a rule where you can wear gloves if you want, or you don't have to?
I think,
or do you think he wants it to be like across the board, no gloves at all?
I just think he thinks it's stupid to wear gloves because the fact that you can completely kick someone in the side of the face with your bare shin, but you can't punch them with your bare hand is kind of stupid.
Yeah, that is kind of dumb now that you think about it.
Yeah,
that's funny.
The impact of a kick and the person's shin is way worse.
Like the amount of damage you can deal.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
Have you ever seen? I mean, I know you have, but those fights that end with a high kick to the head.
Oh yeah,
it's
the John Jones Cormier fight.
It's like devastating. I saw this one the other day, and this guy kept doing dance moves.
Yeah,
and
is that the Spider guy not Spider? Maybe Spider
Silva.
But the guy that we talked about that was it Silva? Or was it there's a newer guy now that is doing that a lot because he's super talented, but he's always hurt.
Oh, I don't know. Cody Garbrandt did that against TJ Dillashaw. Yeah. No, he did it against Dominic Cruz when he beat him, and ended up he was dancing and stuff because he knew that he was in a place where he could do that. But this other fight I saw was not in the UFC. It was just You know, they do like lower.
They have like Bellator now.
Yeah, but they have like in states they have like same thing that they have here.
Like Kokomo.
Yeah. So it was just one of those fights, and the guy kept dancing, and he did like dance move, and right when he got done doing like the dance move, he just got straight high kick to the face, and his whole body just like
crumpled.
No, like
went
like
stiff.
straight, and then he just slammed in the ground.
That's like when, like I said, when John Jones kicked Cormier, like Cormier looked like he didn't know where he was at, like for a good amount of time. Like he was like looking around, it looked like he like literally was like scared, like he didn't know where he was.
It's crazy how good Daniel Cormier is, and how that he's just fucking everybody up, and then there's this one guy
that he can't take.
He just like, you know, this is so much better than him. Right. I think personally, John Jones.
When you watch it, you can see it is clearly. So what else is going on in the world that we've been experiencing or seeing?
I don't know, man. I've just been
like I said, I mean, we both are in that position where like I've listened to a lot of podcasts. So like, I mean, I've been listening to
Sword and Scale.
I listened to Rogan and Neil deGrasse Tyson, which I love.
Yeah,
I absolutely, dude. And what's funny is Neil deGrasse Tyson, like even in the podcast, was like, "Do you want me to shut up a little bit? I need to stop talking a little bit so that you can respond to what we're talking about." And Joe's just like laughing because Joe's good. Joe's good at just letting those people go because he knows that it's better than him like interrupting them.
Yeah.
Because he just goes on a tangent and just talks about stuff and it just blows your mind.
It does blow your mind, and then you're just like, what the fuck is he, you know, like sometimes it just blows your mind. Like I can't even wrap my head around what he's talking about.
Well, and then the line that stuck with me is Neil deGrasse Tyson asked Joe, he was like, how many can you name off of the top of your head more than 5 teachers that have made an impact in your life? Like an actual, like you remember something they said, or they were like, you know, a very impactful like educator to you. And Joe was like, I think I can only think of like 1.
Yeah.
And then Neil deGrasse Tyson, what really stuck with me was Neil deGrasse Tyson had a teacher when he was in college or in high school or something tell him I think this was Rogan. Never mind. Rogan said this. He had a teacher in high school that like said, you really want to make your brain hurt, just look up and think about the fact that it's infinite, like that what you're looking up into, the sky, space, all of that, there's no end to it. Like it doesn't stop at any point. And he was like, that really stuck with me. And Joe was like, I think I had 1 teacher, and I can only think of 1 teacher.
Yeah, I had a few that were like, but that helpful too.
That like thinking of like things not ending is kind of scary because it just makes you think of like how little and like worthless and you don't make any difference at all.
Just a speck of dust in the universe.
I was thinking about that. Like once again, dude, yesterday was kind of a dark day, but I was like sitting there thinking about that. I like, you know, thinking about that at like even just the Colts game. I was like looking around at people and I'm like, I wonder if anybody else is thinking the way I am right now, where like none of this matters. You guys are all just sitting here like, you all got up just like I did, got ready.
If the world was just disintegrated, it wouldn't make a fucking difference.
Like I was sitting there thinking about that, but also having a good time. But that was like in the back of my head. Like
just picturing you like going in and out of like, oh my God, life is blah, blah, blah. And then being like, woo, yeah, touchdown.
And I was too. It was so weird. But I had that like dark little like cloud over my head. But like also like
you're not the only, everybody has those days where you're just kind of like, it's a bunch of different things that come together to make you kind of have like a shitty day, like you said, the weather. So that's, you wake up and you walk out and you look out the window and it's all cloudy and gray and shit, and then you know, maybe the first thing that Jen says is like not something you particularly like, and then you're like, oh God, here we go, and then it just kind of goes down, and then your thoughts become negative, and then you continue to just like go with that path throughout the day.
Well, and another thing that has been throwing me off recently is I'm working closer to downtown Indy, and the amount of mentally unstable and homeless people that you see, it's like startling to me. Like, and it's making me like really not like being downtown. Like, I don't like that. I don't like walking down the street and seeing people that look like zombies, like literally like stumbling, like, and like talking to themselves and like walking all like herky jerky, like, and like, I'm like looking over, I'm like, that if this was like
bath salts, dude.
if this was a movie, I could probably like put that guy into this movie as a zombie, and he would look right at home in this movie.
I know what you mean. I used to work downtown, and there's a lot of straight. Like one day, I was driving downtown, and this lady just walked into traffic, like just started walking across the street, and almost got hit. I'm just like, and she looked exactly how you were just.
I cannot imagine how that many people exist like that.
Yeah.
Like, because there are people that like will, and then did I already tell about the guy that went into the gas station and didn't have his ID for cigarettes?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. God, that's so like that kind of stuff is happening all day, every day downtown, and I do not like being around it. No, I hate it
because you feel like you're on like high alert all the time. Like I don't like going down even on East Washington Street because I have to feel like I have to be like watching everybody all the time.
And I was telling my my wife and little brother and sister when we were walking down the street, there was like a corner that we had to pass where there was two guys selling towels and like blankets. They were like Colts towels, Colts blankets, and I told Jen and like the kids, because when we walked by them the first time, nobody said anything to me because I was on my phone and I was trying to find our tickets. But on the like walking back, like I was like, anytime that happens, I try not to make eye contact and not even look at the person. And I feel like I must have some sort of aura or like a look on my face that I'm easy to sell to, because I feel like every time I walk by people like that, I'm always the one who gets talked to, and they're like, "Hey man, you want to buy some towels or Colts blankets?" And I just was like, "Nah." And he's like, "Come on, man, are you kidding me? These are good quality." And I'm like, just walking, like trying to get away and like walk faster because I don't want to talk to this person. But that happens to me a lot. Like I feel like they can talk to me.
The germaphobe in me wants to say that where were those blankets at?
Yeah, they were draped over like an electrical box.
And then you're also like, where are they stored at this man's house? That's probably disgusting.
Yeah, if he has a house.
Yeah, and or so if they're just like,
where did he get them?
And then people are gonna buy those, go home and snuggle up with them after they've been draped over, whatever. That's just disgusting.
Well, and then I think this will gross you out more. On the way to the game, same guy was selling those same towels and blankets, but he was calling them cold, wet towels because it was hot outside. So he was like trying to sell them so that people maybe put them over the back of their neck or something, or like wipe their face with it because it was like a cold wet towel. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, Shane would not be in on a cold wet towel.
No.
Let alone a regular towel or a regular blanket.
Somebody needs to get that guy a car salesman job. Maybe get that APR down to
3%, and then maybe we'll talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just funny because you see that stuff and like, I also like wonder, like I even had that like introspective thought, like, am I just a big asshole? Like that I'm thinking that like these people are terrible and I don't want to be around it.
They're the assholes for getting in your face and trying to sell you shit.
Well, not just those people, but just even just homeless and like mentally unstable people in general. Like this sounds bad, but I would just prefer not to see it. So like if there was some way that we could get rid of it, I think I would be okay with it.
Like that sounds like you either mean you're trying to get rid of like people being homeless, or you're just going to kill all of them or something. I don't know which one.
Round them up and put them somewhere.
Homeless island.
Yeah, they can live on trash island that's in the middle of the ocean.
It sounds really bad. Some of them I don't really feel bad for because they're not trying, and then others have like mental illnesses and stuff that's obviously, and they have no one.
Yeah.
And so it's just like there's different parts of it where I definitely feel for some homeless people because they're just like a lot of them are mentally ill or veterans or something like that. Right. Or people like I just see the dude without any legs in a wheelchair. Like that's. Could you imagine being homeless, not having anything, and then having no legs?
Yeah,
and being in a fucking wheelchair downtown and trying to figure out why.
Can I make a little bit of an argument about that? Because I actually interacted with a jackass that had no legs and was in a wheelchair because he came into the place of business that I work at, and basically requested service, and I told him that we could not serve him because of certain rules and things that affected him because he didn't have the right level of what he needed.
Yeah.
And so basically I had to turn him away, and he was an asshole about it. And he's like, my goddamn blah, 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 and like just yelling at me. And I'm like, I really have no way of changing this. This is just the rule.
Yeah.
Like
you're just enforcing the rules. You're not like,
Yeah.
I always
And
tell people when I'm
then he sat outside of our building and yelled and complained about it to everybody that walked in. And then also he had one of his other homeless friends come in, I think, to try to do the same thing and see if they got through. And I said, once again, no, we are not able to do this, blah, blah, blah. So it's frustrating because I don't know. Can you still, like, is it impossible to still have a good attitude when you're homeless and have no legs? Probably. It's probably hard to have a good attitude.
Probably really hard.
But still,
Yeah.
please have a good attitude.
Yeah.
Don't be a dickhead to me because I'm enforcing rules that I can't control.
Well, you didn't do that to him.
Yeah.
So,
And then, oh my God, I can't get over there is like I said, there's a homeless shelter right across the street from where I work.
Yeah.
So we see this all day long. And so then what was funny about this situation is he kind of like rolled his way across the road to the other place where he was at. And I saw like through the window when I was like working on emails on my computer, I saw through the window, he was like play fighting with like his friend. And it was really, really funny because like he would roll up at the guy and the guy would like kind of dodge like back and forth and they were like literally play fighting. I was like, you guys are fine. You were literally just trying to get one over on me coming in here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's very entertaining and it creates a lot of wildness that I see on a regular basis, but also I would prefer not to see it.
right.
And like I said, I don't want, to come off as sounding like, I guess, what is it? Not tolerant, but I'm not very tolerant.
Yeah.
So
It's just one of those things. I
just
think
the way it is.
A lot of people feel that way, but don't want to say.
Yeah, like then somebody was like, my little sister, I think my little brother was talking about it, and my little sister was like, so what's the solution? Because my little sister's kind of like me. And I was like, actually, honestly, I don't know what the solution is, because I was actually talking about what we were talking about with them yesterday. I was like, I don't really know what the solution is. Like, you hear about, California and places that are more liberal are building like affordable housing for people, or like not affordable housing, basically free housing for people. But then those turn into shitholes and then lower the property value of everybody around them and like kind of ruin the lives of the people around them.
Yeah.
So then that doesn't sound like a very good option. Anytime that I've ever seen in my history or in my knowledge, anytime anything is given out to people, it just kind of gets wasted or taken advantage of or destroyed or just made shitty.
Like Obama phones.
Just something like because I've told the story of the guy that was at BioLife where I used to work. He was talking on his phone and he had $200 worth of food stamps that he was like talking on his Obama phone to somebody, saying he would sell them the food stamps for $100 cash. And I thought that seems shady. So I asked my boss, and my boss was like, oh yeah, we have a number that you can call. And it's basically like the people that are like the administrators of the food stamps, and like they'll get in trouble for that. And so we called and gave them the information, and then that person got in trouble for selling their food stamps. But that's what's crazy is that guy that was doing that was talking on the Obama phone. Plus he had an iPhone that was also sitting in his lap that was also working. And then he also had the $200 in the food stamps that was, and he was trying to get cash for it while getting more cash from us, donating his plasma.
Yeah.
So it's just a wild world world that we live in.
Yep. That's for sure.
And I don't know. I feel like I want things to be a certain way, but I just don't think they're gonna be, and I'm just gonna have to deal and enjoy what I have.
Yep, for sure.
But we're at an hour.
Let's get out of
cut
here.
it out.
Yeah, let's cut it out of here.
I got to get ready for. I've done zero research for fantasy football this year.
You should probably get on that.
It's gonna be bad, I think. I'm gonna pay $100 to be in a league, and I'm basically probably just giving them the $100.
You'll be all right.
No, I typically do pretty well when I don't do any research, because then I don't like overthink things.
Yeah.
But once again, this show is brought to you by Heffernan's Home Services. If you want any kind of like stuff done at your house, just Google them, hit them up, tell them that Juice in the Morning sent you, so you can get 10% off any of your services. The dude's always working, so it's not like he's a terrible business.
Nope.
I see him on Snapchat always working.
Yep.
So if you want good work done, I see it done every day. Hit him up.
Yeah, and if you want to know what the work looks like, follow him on
Follow him
Facebook.
Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook.
They have videos of him doing all kinds of stuff. So.
Yeah. So I think I actually might hit him up because we need to get our house cleaned off. We got all kinds of spiders. It's a ridiculous thing. But anyways, thank you for listening, guys. I think it was a good episode. I think we just caught up. It felt good to do this. Like,
yeah,
it feels good to kind of not have a plan and just go into it and just chat, because some of those are our favorite episodes.
I agree.
Make sure you share with friends, share with family. Some of the listeners that we've gotten recently that have been commenting on the Facebook just literally came because somebody was like, hey, listen to this. So it works.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. I apologize that I haven't been as like marketing it as much and putting it out there as much. I've just been really busy with work. Same with Shane. I think once the wintertime hits, I think things will calm down a little bit, and I think we'll be able to provide more stuff, more content for you guys. But once again, thanks for listening. Hope the juice was worth the squeeze.
Yep. Have a good weekend, guys.
Boom.
Juice in the morning. Juice in the morning. Juice in the morning. Juice in the morning.